Creating your seat at the table with your host, Ashley Little, as she welcomes her guest to the table.
Welcome to Creating Your Seat at the Table. I am your host, Ashley Little. A little bit about myself: corporate professional by day, entrepreneur by night, four-time best-selling author, CEO and founder of Ashley Little Enterprises, LLC, owner and creator of Creative Broadcasting, and co-founder and owner of Talk Radio and TV Network, LLP. Tonight we have an amazing special VIP guest by the name of Ramona Smith. A little bit about her. Ramona Smith is an international award-winning public speaker who holds the prestigious title of the 2018 World Champion of Public Speaking. She is a powerhouse, a gracious woman beyond measure, one who courageously surpassed over 30,000 people to receive such an illustrious honor. Her ubiquitous stage presence and poised intellectual delivery of various topics has made Ramona one of the most sought-after public speakers in the world. Born and raised in Cleveland, Ohio, audiences admire her unrivaled ability to captivate and connect with individuals from across the globe of all races and ethnicities. She has given keynote addresses in Dubai, Oman, Qatar, Kuwait, Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, Sri Lanka, Brazil, and India. Ramona has a bachelor's degree in public relations with a minor in marketing from the famed Baldwin Wallace University, graduating in Magna Cum Laude. She is currently pursuing an Executive MBA from Prairie View A&M University in Houston, Texas. Ramona spends a great deal of her time traveling the world, delivering encouraging messages of hope, triumph, perseverance, leadership, and love. She has been featured in Forbes.com, Business Insider, Inc.com, and a number of other credible news outlets. When she is not touring the world, you can find Ramona speaking on a smaller stage, inspiring students in the classroom to go after their goals. In addition to being an educator, an author, and poet, her greatest joy is being a mother to her son. Welcome to the table, the amazing Ramona Smith.
Thank you. That was awesome.
Thank you. Well, I look forward for my listeners to get some wisdom and knowledge from you tonight. You're an amazing, I'm sure everybody has heard your bio. So would you please tell us more about your entrepreneur journey?
Oh my goodness, it's still a journey. I started understanding what I wanted to do forever and what my passion and my purpose both were when I was about 19. I had an encounter with a strange young lady. I didn't know her, but I was standing at the bus stop, and I saw her and her boyfriend getting into like a scuffle, not physically, but he was just screaming on her, and I don't know if they had got into it, but she was crying and everything like that. And I don't know what came over me. I don't know, whatever you want to call it, the spirit, or I don't know. Something came over me, and I went over there, and I gave her like this impromptu motivational speech. And from then on, it was like, wow, I have to do this for the rest of my life. But I didn't have, like an aunt who was a motivational speaker, or I didn't know that you could do it as a profession. I didn't know that it was a thing. I'm a young girl who grew up in, an impoverished area, so we looked up to teachers and nurses and things like that, so I had no idea you could become a professional speaker. But I feel like when you have a purpose and a calling on your life and you acknowledge it, that's when the universe kind of works with you to try to push you and propel you into that. So I tried to run from it for many years. I tried to. Recently I tried to run from it. I tried to run from it when I moved to Houston in 2017. And I'm like, you know what, I'm going to teach. I'm going to teach for 5 years. I'm going to stay in the classroom for 5 years, and then I'm going to focus on my business. And whatever you want to call it, God, the universe, whatever, something was like, nah, you're going to win this world championship of public speaking, and you're going to resign from teaching, and then you're going to jump on this entrepreneurial journey like you were supposed to. So, I mean, the word journey is precisely the definition. You never know where it's going to take you. You never know where it's going to go. You can plan, but you know what they say, when we plan, God laughs. So, I mean, it's been up and down. But I started my LLC in 2011. And when I moved to Houston, I started like rebranding and trying to build upon that. And I don't want to say I'm in the beginning stages, because I've been doing this, professionally for almost 10 years. But as far as rebranding myself and having this global platform, I guess it kind of feels like the beginning, because when you're first starting out, as all entrepreneurs know, you don't start out with everybody like, "Ooh, I want you. Come on, let me get that. Let me buy that. Come speak. Come do this." They don't know you until you know you. But when you outlast 30,000 people doing something that the majority of the world is afraid to do, that's when they see you. So now it's like, "Oh, come speak here. Come do that." So now that the business is actually building up, now it's starting to get real.
Amazing. And you are very passionate about public speaking, and one of the most sought out. You're one of the most sought out public speakers in the world. So tell us more about your passion.
The passion is to inspire. The passion comes from I acknowledge the responsibility that comes with public speaking, because anyone who can get in front of a crowd of 2 or more and speak, they can call themselves a public speaker. But the difference between a person who has a passion for it and a person who just slaps that title on is that I would do it for free. I still do it for free. Even though that's my bread and butter, I love it so much that if, like, I got invited to speak at U of H, University of Houston downtown. Like, they didn't offer me an honorarium. I didn't even ask for one. But I know it's some kids in there who need to feel what I can give them through the power of my word. So I did that. Like, and I'm going to go back for free. I did that. Now, ultimately, it's strategic, because if you continue to build these relationships, they're going to keep you in mind for things like that. But it's a passion that when you love something so much and you enjoy something so much that you do it for free, even when you know you can get thousands and thousands of dollars to do it, but it's a greater purpose behind it. I feel like that's where the passion comes in, because I know a lot of people who are professional speakers, but they just want the check. And they'll go in front of any audience and talk about anything. They may not know anything about horses, right? But they'll get invited to a horseback riding convention, and they'll go and speak just to collect the check. But are you moving people? Are you moving people towards their purpose? Are you lighting a fire under someone? Are you empowering someone? Are you really doing something impactful in somebody else's lives, or are you there just to talk on a stage and collect the check? I think that's where my passion lies. I do it for free, even though I know I can get thousands of dollars for it. If I know somebody in that audience may need what I have, I'm going to give it to them, because I feel like that's my responsibility as a human being. That's why I was put on this earth.
I love that. And I love that you said that, Ramona, because, when you're passionate, you'll do it for free, right? When you're passionate, it's not a job. When you're passionate about it, it's not going to feel, it's not a burden, right? And also, when you spoke about, making sure that you're moving people, right? Because it is, like you said, anybody can put the speaker on their bio, but are you moving people towards their purpose? That is so key. I love that.
Definitely.
So you hold the prestigious title of the 2008 World Champion of Public Speaking. Tell us about it, about your experience and the process.
Oh, my goodness. There was so much history made last year. Now, the current world champion is a wonderful man named Aaron Beverly, African-American guy, and he actually placed second in 2016. So he came back after becoming the first runner-up and got the title 3 years later. So big ups to Aaron Beverly. He won for 2019. But in 2018, I became only the 5th woman to ever win this title, and it's through an organization called Toastmasters International, and they have a contest every single year. So, like I said, every year about 30,000 people initially compete, and then out of that 30,000, it dwindles down to just one. But it's a boys' club. It's male dominated. So I'm only the 5th woman to ever win, and then women couldn't even compete until 73. So since 1973, only 5 women have won. Only 2 African-American women have won. So I'm only the 2nd African-American woman to ever win this title. The first African-American woman won in 2008, and her name was LaShonda Rundles, but unfortunately she passed away from lupus. So I'm the only living African-American world champion of public speaking with this organization. Also, I was the first woman to win in 10 years. A woman had not, it was man, and then here comes this woman, and of course a man won this year because it's a male-dominated competition. And then also in 2018, a woman won first, second, and third place. So that's never, ever happened.
Wow.
So it was, yeah, I feel like, it's history, it's something that
Yes.
can never be taken away from me. It's something that my son, I have a 7-year-old son, it's something that my son can say. He don't understand the magnitude of it now, but in the future, he was like, wow, my mom, she was the world champion and she made all this history. So I've written my name in the history books, and I feel like we all want to leave a lasting legacy. And I feel like that was the first pivotal step that I took towards creating that lasting legacy for myself and my family and African American people as a whole.
Well, super congratulations on breaking glass ceilings and breaking records and making history. Super congratulations. That is, this is amazing, right? The second African American woman in the world, right? To win it.
Yes.
That's awesome. Amazing.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
So what are some strategies you would give to listeners about having good stage presence? Because I know that's something that's very important to you. So when our speakers that are listening now, what are some strategies you would give them about having that? Because that's so important that you have good stage presence.
Absolutely. I think the most valuable piece of advice that I can give people who are going to be presenting or speaking is you have to prepare. You have to prepare. I think people take for granted preparation. Like they just want to go up there and it'll come to me, or I know what I want to say. And you, unless you do this like on a day-to-day basis and your life is based around speaking and that's it, I would strongly recommend that you prepare. Write an outline. Write it down. Rehearse. Go through it. Even if you want to do some choreography on the stage, you have to prepare so you can know what it's going to look like. And I think a lot of people are, there's a little arrogance there. Like, oh, no, I speak every day at work, or, I have a podcast, or, whatever the case may be. We get a little arrogant, but it's an art. Public speaking is an art. It's something that you have to work on. You have to practice, just like if you're a basketball player, or just like if you play the harmonica, or anything that the majority of the people can't do well. It's a skill, so you have to practice it. So definitely preparation, rehearsal.
So for our speakers that are listening, preparation and rehearsal, don't get too comfortable. If it's not something that you do every day, definitely prepare for your opportunities, because it'll make a big difference. So thank you for Ramona for sharing it, because I do believe that sometimes people, like you said, they do get comfortable and they don't think they have to when they should be. So absolutely. So what are some strategies you would give to listeners about building rapport with their audience? Because like you said, you want to make sure that you're passionate and you're helping people get to their purpose. So building rapport is important when you're speaking.
Absolutely. For sure. But I feel like another mishap that some speakers make, is they stumble, is they don't know their audience. Like I use the example about the person who's never rode a horse or doesn't know anything about horses, but you're speaking at this horseback riding convention. You have to know your audience. You have to know what type of people you're going to be in front of in order to first be able to construct a message and to be able to deliver that message effectively. So what are the demographics of the audience? Who are they? Where do they come from? Is it going to be an audience that's older? So should you use certain terms? If I'm talking to an audience of maybe like 50 and up, I'm not going to keep making references to Snapchat and Instagram and things that I know that this generation is not really familiar with. Or if you're in front of an audience that's more conservative, or if you're in front of an audience who are more Christian or more religious, are you going to have certain jokes, or are you going to use profanity? You have to know your audience, and then once you know your audience, you're going to know what's going to make them laugh most of the time. You're going to know what would be offensive. You're going to know what to stay away from, because if you're at a Democratic convention and you're speaking and you talk about how much you love Trump, is that really going to build rapport with your audience?
No.
So understand the demographics and the interests of your audience, and that'll help you build rapport. What are they looking for? What do they come there for? What's the purpose of the event, and how can you give them what they came for? Because the speaker is very important, but in public speaking, the most important element is your audience.
Thank you for sharing those nuggets, because that's so important. The most important element is your audience, knowing who your audience is. That is so important, because I've been in places where I don't think people knew who their audience was, right? People not relating, and they're about being moved. So Do your research. Know who your audience is. That is so key when you're taking these speaking opportunities. So thank you for sharing that.
You can just ask the person, whoever invites you, ask that person, well, what kind of people are there? What's the age? Are they professionals? Are they college students? Are they younger? Are they older? What is the general description of some of the qualities and traits of the majority of the people in the audience? And they'll let you know, like, oh, no, these are IT professionals, and, most of them are a little reserved. They'll give you that information, but you have to ask for it and keep it in mind when you're crafting your message.
Absolutely. So make sure you're asking the person that invited you about the audience and who you're going to be talking to. So don't be afraid to ask those questions. So thank you for sharing that. And now, I know I have a lot of listeners that are probably speakers that are listening. So what are the pros and cons of being a professional public speaker?
Well, for me, there aren't too many cons because this is what I love. But let me say, coming from trying to be objective, pros are you have the attention of all these people. And most likely whatever you want to say or whatever you want to sell, you have open minds and open ears and even open hearts to be able to give them whatever it is that you want to give them. It's a huge responsibility. So if you want to persuade them, you can persuade them. If you want to pitch an idea or if you want to sell some products, most likely if you're speaking and your message is effective, they'll buy it. Or if you want to inform them about something, so you have that responsibility and you have these open minds and open ears and open hearts to where you can give them something, and it's like power. So it can be powerful in a sense. I don't want it to sound like dark or anything like that. But anytime, one person has the floor, it's very powerful. So whatever you came to give or whatever your aim is, you'll be able to, if your message and your speech is effective, you'll be able to execute that goal. So if your goal is to come in here and sell some books, 9 times out of 10 you will if your speech is good. Or if you want to get in here and ask for more followers on social media, whatever the case may be, you have the floor, you have that power. So that's a pro. A con maybe would be if you offend one person, or if you say something and it's offensive, you have to be careful with that, because you can say one thing and mean it the complete different way, but in a room full of 1,000 people are going to take things 1,000 different ways. So you have to understand that you have to have thick skin, because in some cases you might have a speech that you thought went over so well, like, yes, I nailed it, I killed it, and then 5 people come up to you like, you know what you said really hurt my feelings, or I disagree with what you said here. So you have to remember that you're dealing with people, and people have different opinions, and people have different viewpoints. So I guess with that same power, you might have a little bit of backlash depending on if you said something that may or may not offend someone. Another pro is you can get paid a lot of money for it. You can get paid a lot of money for it. I mean, I know some speakers. I think I remember when Damon John, the guy who created FUBU and the Sharks. I think he spoke in my college, and he got almost $500,000 for coming to speak for an hour and a half. So I'm not there yet, honey. I'm getting there. I'm not there yet. But when you really connect with people and you have something of value, that people feel like they connect with and they need, they'll pay you a lot of money for it. But a con is sometimes you might not get as many speaking engagements as you want, especially as an emerging speaker. Nobody knows who you are. And I'm trying to say that with love because I was there too. Nobody knows. Who are you? You want to come speak to my what? We don't know you. So you may not get a speaking engagement for a couple of weeks, or you may not sell any books for a couple of weeks, or you may not get any people attending your workshops for a couple of months. So that's a con. It's a grind. I think that's all I got for now.
And the key thing,
the money and the power.
I love everything that you said, but the key thing that you said is having something of value, right?
Yes.
Having something of value. That is when people will pay you to come and speak for an hour and a half and make $500,000 once you get to that level. So that's the key thing. So I know a lot of people, you might have some people that are aspiring to, pursue the world championship of public speaking with Toastmasters. So what is some advice you would give to those aspiring speakers who are wanting to get to that next level to where you are?
Well, first of all, you have to join the organization. If you're not a part of the organization, you won't be able to participate in the contest. But should you participate in the contest, don't take it so hard. The thing that myself and the current world champion, Aaron Beverly, have in common is that we both tried before. We both tried and had previous attempts at the world championship, before we actually won. But the time when we actually did win was when we were not focused on the win. The attempt that you go in when you're like, I'm just going to have some fun, I'm just going to learn, grow, and have some fun, that's when it came easily. But when we went into the competition, like, yeah, I'm going to be the next world champion, and yeah, I'm the best speaker ever, when we went in with that ego, it kind of created like a universal like resistance to the ultimate goal. So I feel like if you're going in with intentions to win, what's your why? If that's your only why, to win, to get the title, it might not be your year. But the year you go in to genuinely better yourself, or because you feel like you genuinely have a message that's going to resonate with the world, not just Texas, not just Ohio, not just the Midwest, not just America, but the whole world, and you really have, those good intentions behind you, then you'll be successful. But you have to be a member of the organization, and you have to compete at several levels. So you have to win at the club level, at the area level, at the district level, the division level. I think now they have like quarterfinals, then you have to go through semifinals, and then the finals. So it's a long journey, and it's a long process. You can get a coach. A lot of the previous world champions, they can coach you and give you advice and help you work on your speeches. And don't take it too hard. It's a contest. It could change your life ultimately, but take it with a grain of salt. It doesn't, just because you don't win doesn't mean you're a great speaker or a bad speaker. It just means it wasn't your time, or maybe this may not be that propelling thing, that moment for you.
And the key thing was, don't take it too hard, right? Don't take it too hard.
It's not that serious.
And thank you for sharing that process, letting people know you just didn't walk in there one day and win.
Right.
You at several different levels, right? Took a lot of preparation. Yeah. You went before. It wasn't your time. Went back. It wasn't even thinking about it, and you won, right? It has to be genuine, and knowing your why for our listeners that wish to get to this level.
Yeah,
so you have
something.
Go ahead. What did you say?
I just posted something on Instagram. It said something like, everybody wants to be in your position until they have to see how hard it is to get there, or something like that. Like, when we see people with these accolades and these big platforms, it's like, oh, man, I bet you I could do that, or, oh, man, who is she, or something like that. But you have to understand that it's not something that anybody can do. You have to be a special person to be able to connect with people globally. If you don't have a passport, don't even, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't even throw no shade. If you don't have any friends who don't look like you, don't throw shade. Like, every lane is not for everybody.
That's right. That's right. Key word, key thing, key sentence. Every lane is not for everybody, and that's true. That's true. So it's important that we, follow our purpose and know our passion, right? Because each person is unique, right? Everybody has their own journey that they are traveling. So travel your journey.
Right.
So you continuously build multiple tables for yourself, and you continuously doing it now. So I asked all of my guests this question: how did you create your seat at the table?
Persistence. I really feel like I'm a strong person, and so I have to send you a link to the speech, because in my speech, the speech that won, it was called Still Standing, and I talked about all the different trials three different trials and challenges that I faced in my life, but I stayed in the ring. I didn't give up. I dropped out of college 4 times before I ended up graduating Magna Cum Laude. I dropped out of college 4 times, but now I'm pursuing my 4th degree. So whatever issues you go through, you can just keep pushing, first of all, and then you can go back and clean it up. You can go back and clean up what you messed up. I tried to be the world champion in 2015, but I lost. I didn't even make it past the 4th elimination round. And that hurt. It hurt my ego. It hurt my pride because I'm like, I know I'm called to be a professional speaker. I know that. So why would I not win? I know I'm talented. I know I'm gifted. I know my speech was great. Like, why didn't I win? But in 2018, I came back, and I doubled back, and then I got it. So I think people give up too easily sometimes. So stay persistent and be consistent. And I feel like it may not come the way you want it to come, but it'll come eventually if you hang in there.
Persistent, persistent, and be consistent.
Yes.
So for our listeners that are listening, Ramona Smith dropped out of college 4 times and now is working on her 4th degree, and it is one of the world's most sought out public speakers. I mean, this is an amazing story by itself. So it's not about how you start; it's about how you finish. At the end of the day,
absolutely.
So now that we talked about that, because it walks me right into what I'm going to ask you next, which is what did failure teach you? Because we all have a journey, right? And we have to embrace that pain, because if we don't embrace the pain, we can't get to the next level. So what did failure teach you on your journey?
You said what did which one teach me?
What did failure?
Oh, failure. Oh, wow. I just saw an acronym at my school in one of the offices of the leaders on campus. It said like FAIL was an acronym for first effort at learning or something like that. First attempt in learning or something like that. And I've just learned that failure is it just seems like such a bad word. It sounds so bad. It doesn't taste good in your mouth when you say failure. It's what you make it. If you decide to fail and wallow in that season, or you decide to sit there in the sorrow and in the sadness, and you say, "Oh man, it didn't work out the way I wanted to this time. I quit." Then you stop yourself. Then you make yourself become stagnant. But if you say, "You know what? It didn't work out the way I wanted to this time. Let me re-strategize. Let me go back and see what I did wrong or what I didn't do or what I could have done, and then maybe ask for some help, ask for some guidance, ask for some structure, and maybe get a mentor or something like that, and then work again." Then you never know, like, the possibilities of the next outcome. I feel like I don't even really like the word failure. It's just lessons. Lessons. And the biggest thing that those lessons taught me was that I'm stronger than I realized, and I'm smarter than I realized. Because anytime you can bounce back from a situation that you thought would destroy you, it makes you look at yourself in the mirror and say, "Oh my goodness, I must be amazing. I must be awesome. I got through all that. Some self-inflicted, some not, but I got through all that. What can't I do?" It takes you to a level of limitlessness. Like, that's a word, right? Limitlessness. What's the word today, honey? Limitlessness. And you realize that the world doesn't end if you, quote-unquote, fail. The world doesn't end, okay? If you had I was married for, like, less than a year, right? But life goes on, you know? You meet some great people, and you get back up and try it again. I know, I mean, it's cliche, but seriously, what doesn't kill you, it does make you stronger.
And it's so important because, you know, lessons teach us, it helps us build our character, and that's why we have to embrace every season, right? Not just the spring and the summer seasons, but we have to embrace the fall and the winter seasons too. So just enjoying the journey and embracing every season, because every season prepares us for that next level.
It does. You become more well-equipped and you become wise. And then when those times come, you'll get to a point of wisdom where it's like you can see it coming, or you'll understand that it's only temporary. It's only temporary. It might be a setback, but what the preacher say? It's a setup for a comeback.
Right. Yes, only temporary, and that's what everybody has to remember, that the seasons are only temporary. But if you quit in the middle of those seasons, you will not get to your destiny. Right.
You ain't gonna reap the harvest. I feel like I'm preaching. Is it Sunday?
We both are. I feel like we are. Yes, we are. So, failure is a lesson. You know, it's all lessons. So, what did success teach you? Because you're very successful.
See, I'm an ambitious and driven person, and so I feel like success has taught me humility. Yeah, it's taught me humility. Because success for different people means different things. Some people think that success means, having a bunch of Benzes and BMWs and Lamborghinis and Bentleys and things like that, or, millions and billions of dollars and things like that. Personally, to me, success just means accomplishing my goals. So whatever goal that I have, if I can knock it out and I can accomplish it, that's success for me. So it's taught me humility, because I know that my purpose is bigger than me. And being able to connect with people in all these different countries and really create long-lasting, meaningful bonds, it's given me an appreciation for humanity. Now, America is it's a different type of place. It's a different type of place here, especially if you have melanated skin and your ancestors, were enslaved. So it's a different type of place. And so here we have to be careful with what we do and what we say and things like that. But when you go to other cultures who don't have, a muddy history like America, and you can really just look for who they are and they look at you for who you are, not the color of your skin. Oh, man. My goodness. It was probably, the most eye-opening, just heartwarming it was one of the most heartwarming experiences of my life, to be like, oh my God, I don't even speak your language, you don't speak my language, we don't dress the same, we don't even have the same religion, but I see you. So I would say success has taught me humility.
Yes, and it's so important that we stay humble, right? You have to stay humble on the journey. And always be a servant leader, always looking at ways to help somebody else get there. I'm a big believer that a true successful leader is one who reaches back and pulls forward. So, and I know you consistently do that, with your platform and the things that you're doing. So I commend you for those things as well.
Thank you.
So what can we expect from you the rest of 2019? We're getting ready to go into quarter four, so I know you're going to finish strong.
Oh, absolutely. I'm doing workshops every month in Houston, and I want to do them all over the United States and eventually take it overseas, because for some reason my brothers and sisters overseas, they appreciate me a little bit more than my brothers and sisters in America. So I know I'm going to get that amazing love and reception once I start taking my workshops overseas. But right now I hold public speaking workshops and like inspirational workshops in Houston. I have one coming up in Cleveland, Ohio next month. And and I have some books that I need to finish. I have like 3 books that I'm working on right now that I need to finish. Hopefully I'll have them finished by the end of the fourth quarter. And, always speaking somewhere, doing something, doing a conference, or I got Global Business Week coming up in Northeast Ohio. And I'll be speaking in Malaysia in a couple of weeks and doing a big, it's some type of educational conference down in Alabama in December. So I always do the speaking, but I'm trying to build my brand through those public speaking workshops that I have every few weeks. The next one is September 23rd in Houston.
Awesome. Well, super congratulations on everything that you're doing. And for our listeners that live in Houston, go check Ramona out on September 23rd and support her. She's definitely somebody to know. So listeners, please connect with her and book her for your next event. She is, she is proven. She has a track record, and she's passionate about, this public speaking. So you're guaranteed to win with her. So will you please tell our listeners, Ramona, how they can follow you on all social media platforms and connect with you?
Yes. Primarily I'm on Instagram, and that is at Ladybug Speaker, Facebook is Ramona J. Smith. Twitter is at Ladybug Speaker, and I'm so sorry for people who are like 25 and under. I don't do Snapchat too much. But if I get enough pressure from my young people, I'll probably be more active on Snapchat. But Instagram, definitely at Ladybug Speaker. You can check out my website, RamonaJSmith.com, or shoot me an email, theladybugspeaker@gmail.com.
So please follow her and support her. She's definitely someone to know. So, Ramona, thank you for taking the time out of your very, very busy schedule to come to the table. It has been a blessing to interview the 2018 World Champion of Public Speaking. All right? It has been a blessing to have you at the table, and I cannot wait to invite you back.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you for giving us this platform. We appreciate it. We appreciate all you do, all of your accomplishments and your achievements, because they inspire us, and you're giving us another voice. And, you're somebody who looks like us, and we thank you for giving us this opportunity.
Thank you, and I look forward to working and collaborating with you in the future.
Oh, definitely.
All right, thank you.
No problem. Thank you.
So I would like to give a special thanks to Tammy Collins Marquis and John Schamberger. I would also like to give a special thanks to author Kimberly McLemore and to my intern Sarah from Tennessee State University and my intern Vontaria from Winston-Salem State University. You all may follow me on Facebook at Ashley Little and on Instagram at _Ashley A. Little. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Creating Your Seat at the Table, where Ashley speaks with corporate professionals, celebrities, entrepreneurs, authors, and speakers who are transitioning or have transitioned to entrepreneurship.